when Earth began recycling itself. For most of its early history, nothing truly returned. Material rose, cooled, and vanished without coming back. Then the planet learned how to reuse its own past. Once gravity organized Earth's structure and fire moved underground, a new behavior quietly emerged. This matters because permanence alone does not create longevity. Without recycling, a planet eventually exhausts its surface, its chemistry, and its capacity for renewal. Earth's survival required a system that could turn endings into beginnings. Stability without renewal is stagnation, and stagnation on a geological timescale leads inevitably to the depletion of every resource the surface depends upon. As tectonic motion matured, sections of crust no longer remained permanently on the surface. Dense plates began sinking back into the mantle at convergent boundaries, carrying water, carbon, and minerals with them. This descent did not destroy material. It transformed it, reintroducing it into the planet's interior, where heat and pressure could reshape it. The process stripped surface rock of its accumulated chemistry and subjected it to conditions that fundamentally altered its composition, preparing it for eventual return in a different form. At the same time, new crust formed elsewhere. Magma rose along spreading zones, cooled, and created fresh surface to replace what had been lost. This exchange linked deep Earth to its exterior in a continuous loop. The surface was no longer a one-way destination. It was paracycle. Material flowed downward at subduction zones and upward at mid-ocean ridges, creating a planetary conveyor that connected the deepest mantle to the thinnest layer of ocean floor. Oceans and atmosphere joined this process. Water followed descending plates into the mantle, altering melting behavior and influencing where volcanoes formed. Carbon moved between air, sea, rock, and interior, preventing both runaway warming and permanent freezing. Earth was regulating itself through motion. The involvement of volatile compounds in the recycling process added chemical complexity to what had begun as a purely mechanical exchange. This recycling changed the meaning of loss. Destruction no longer erased material from the system. It relocated it. Every ending fed a future transformation, ensuring the planet never ran out of potential. What appeared to be geological death at a subduction zone was actually geological transformation, a change of state rather than an end of existence. Earth had learned how to forget selectively, and by doing so, it learned how to endure. This recycling process deepened as plate interactions became more defined and persistent over time. Subduction zones acted like slow conveyors, drawing surface material downward and exposing it to conditions that rewrote its structure at the atomic level. Water lowered melting temperatures. Carbon altered mineral behavior, and pressure reorganized matter into forms that could later return to the surface changed. The journey from surface to mantle and back again could take hundreds of millions of years, but the continuity of the cycle ensured that no material was permanently lost. What made this cycle so powerful was its reach, elements essential for climate regulation, and eventually, life itself were no longer trapped at the surface or locked away permanently in the mantle. They moved continuously between realms, ensuring that no single environment became exhausted or overwhelmed. Earth was building a planetary metabolism. Just as a biological organism circulates nutrients to sustain its cells, the planet circulated elements to sustain its environments. Volcanic arcs marked a visible return path. Material that had once been part of ancient seafloor or buried sediments emerged again as lava and gas, carrying signatures of its journey through the interior. Each eruption was not just creation, but memory, revealing what the planet had already processed. The chemistry of volcanic output told the story of what had been subducted, how it had been transformed, and what the mantle had added to it during its time below. This circulation also stabilized Earth's temperature. Carbon dioxide released by volcanoes replaced what weathering removed, while subduction prevented its endless accumulation. The planet avoided extremes by constantly adjusting its own chemistry through motion rather than stasis. This thermostat function, linking volcanism, weathering, and subduction into a single regulatory loop, became one of the most important stabilizing mechanisms in Earth's history. Recycling introduced patience into Earth's story. Change no longer depended on rare events. It unfolded through continuous, predictable exchange. The planet could now sustain transformation indefinitely without exhausting its resources. The rhythm of the cycle replaced the randomness of earlier geological behavior with something approaching regularity. Earth was no longer consuming itself. It was renewing itself. As this planetary recycling intensified, its influence spread far beyond geology alone. By continuously reshaping surface chemistry, Earth created environments that were never allowed to stagnate completely. Nutrients returned to the oceans, fresh rock renewed weathering reactions, and gases cycled to the atmosphere instead of accumulating to destructive levels. The planet gained the ability to correct long-term imbalances before they became permanent. Each cycle of subduction and volcanism refreshed the chemical inventory available to surface processes, maintaining the diversity of elements and compounds that complex systems would eventually require. This build-up toward stability came with tension. Recycling introduced conflict between old and new surfaces, between materials returning from depth and those freshly formed above. Continents collided and tore apart. Oceans opened and closed, and ecosystems were forced to adapt to shifting geography. Yet these disruptions carried purpose. They prevented exhaustion, ensuring that no region or system remained unchanged for too long. The disruption was not a flaw in the recycling process. It was its essential feature. The emotional peak of this story lies in recognition. Earth had transformed destruction into continuity. What once marked an ending, subduction, erosion, burial, now serve as a transition rather than a loss. Every recycled fragment carried information forward, influencing what emerged next. The planet's history was not being erased by its own activity. It was being rewritten, each iteration building upon the last. This process also created resilience. When surface conditions deteriorated, recycled material returned with altered chemistry capable of supporting recovery. When climates drifted, interior feedback restored balance. The planet was no longer reacting blindly. It was responding with memory. The mantle retained a chemical record of everything it had processed, and that record influenced what it returned to the surface in subsequent cycles. Earth's recycling did not make it peaceful. It made it sustainable. And sustainability, more than calm, was what allowed everything that followed to exist at all. The climax of Earth's recycling story was the moment the planet no longer depended on rare rescue. Survival stopped being a matter of luck and became a matter of process. By linking surface, ocean, atmosphere, and interior into a continuous exchange, Earth ensured that no single failure could end the experiment entirely. The redundancy built into the recycling system meant that even catastrophic disruptions could be absorbed and eventually corrected. The resolution lies in how quietly this changed everything. Continents could erode without disappearing forever. Oceans could lose chemistry and regain it. Atmospheres could shift and recover. Recycling turned vulnerability into flexibility, allowing Earth to absorb damage without losing direction. The planet became capable of long-term self-correction, a quality that distinguished it from worlds where surface processes operated in only one direction. This system did not eliminate crisis. It reframed it. Disruption became part of renewal rather than a signal of collapse. Earth's future no longer depended on avoiding catastrophe, but on responding to it through cycles already in motion. The planet had internalized the principle that endings and beginnings are not opposites, but phases of the same process. What makes this transformation so profound is how invisible it feels today. We stand on ground that has been surfaced before, buried before, and will be again. The air we breathe has passed through stone and fire. The planet is not static beneath us. It is circulating. Earth began recycling itself not to preserve the past, but to make the future possible. That quiet exchange, repeated endlessly, is what allowed the story to continue without ever starting over. Sometimes the smallest shift in perspective becomes the beginning of a new future. When